How you doing? Martin Lopez from the Curiosity Theory, and this is the book, The Curiosity Theory. That's kind of weird. It's got a weird drop. So it's the Curiosity Theory, and I want to share with you something that I worked on. That I worked on when I was journaling this morning. This is it right here. So every morning I wake up about 4 o'clock in the morning. Don't know why. I just wake up early, but I use that as an opportunity. What I do when I wake up is I usually throw my laptop right on my lap and I start typing away, and I'll type as much as 1,400 words, but for the most part I'll type somewhere around 600-700 words. It's part of my morning routine where I meditate, I journal, and I practice gratitude, and I do some yoga. So that's my morning routine. A couple mornings ago I wrote this, and it's in the comments. It's the breakdown, but I'm going to kind of like embellish a little bit on it. So and it's about men. This whole thing's about men. What I do for a living is I'm in the mortgage business, but I also coach. I've been coaching since I was in my early 20s, and typically coach businessmen, coach CEOs, coach leaders, coach but as of right now, I'm only coaching men. I decided to only work with men. The reason why is that I've in my conversations that I've had with men, I found that there's a key thing that we all need, which is community. We need other men to talk to. So this is kind of break that down a little bit. So here's what I wrote. As men, we have challenges, struggles. We need a place to sort them out, but we weren't taught how to ask for help. They didn't teach us. They didn't teach us how to support ourselves and other people for the trials that we face. And because of this, we bottled up our wants. We bottled up our needs. We bottled up our dreams and our hopes. We keep those inside of us. When we ask for help from our partners, sometimes they get triggered, sometimes they get scared. And their reactions cause us to go back into our caves and stop sharing. It causes us to hide our pain, hides us to put a smile on our faces and act like everything's okay. And we do things such as drink. We get ourselves into alcohol, gambling, sex, all these other things that we find ourselves. And what we need a solution. We need a solution, one that works for everybody, not only for ourselves, but our partners, our children, the people that work for us, the people that we work with and work for. And applying curiosity, we actually need something we need something that includes everybody, that everybody and doesn't exclude everybody. Would you agree with that? So as men, we want to do good. That's what I find. All the men I talk to, they want to do good. They have good hearts, but sometimes we're just struggling with stuff and we don't know how to sort those things out. So what I did is I wrote this book called The Curiosity Theory, and the Curiosity Theory. And in it, we talk about feelings. It's something that like a lot of men don't want to talk about. I don't want to talk about feelings. Well, the funny thing is the reason you don't want to talk about feelings is because of your feelings. You don't like the way it feels. So you back off from talking about feelings, but all that's happening is you're actually diving into those feelings, but you're diving into the feelings that you don't want. So you're stepping away. Curiosity theory, what we do is we teach a methodology how to lean into the feelings, how to identify the feelings, lean into those feelings so you can understand what you're going through more powerfully, and you're not led by your feelings. You can be led by your brain, led by your heart, but you have to be able to separate the feelings that go on, those things that are natural, those triggers that you have. So applying curiosity is not about being precise. It's not about knowing exactly what to do and when to do it. That's just a strategy. Curiosity is about opening the conversation with somebody, including yourself, looking from a different perspective, multiple perspectives at the same time, being curious in the moment with yourself, what's going on with myself? How am I feeling? What is it I need? What am I observing? Am I making a story about this thing? Does this story serve everybody that's involved, or does it only serve me? Truth is, most of the times the stories we create only serve ourselves. When we can start to identify our feelings and our needs, and I have a link right here for my needs, and where's my book? Right here. It looks like this. It's a feelings list. Okay. This is the feelings list. So what is the feelings list? The feelings list is a set of feelings that we go through in Men's Breakthrough Challenge and the Curiosity Theory. So I have the Curiosity Theory, which is a co-ed program, and then I have something called Men's Breakthrough Challenge, which is the program, but it's only for men. Now, why do I do it only for men? Well, because when men get together, they will communicate. But when there's a woman in the room, then men will hold back. And that's just the way it is. It's just kind of the way we're put together. Now, because there's things you talk about in mixed company, and there's things you don't talk about in mixed company. And what I have found is that why I created Men's Breakthrough Challenge is because the things that men wanted to share in the Curiosity Theory that they didn't share held them back. And then they would call later and say, well, what about this? What about that? Which is no problem. I love to help. I love to coach people. I love to help people work through their challenges. But had we had those things come up, had a man brought that up in the Curiosity Theory, then not only would he been able to work through it, but all the other men in the group would have been able to see that and been able to associate, oh, heck, I deal with that as well. So it's powerful. So the Men's Breakthrough Challenges is a powerful place. And what we do is we actually talk about feelings, but we don't talk about feelings the way that they're thinking we're going to talk about feelings. We talk about feelings so that we can start to learn to identify the feelings that happen when our needs are met and when our needs are not met. So when we have a need as human beings, when we have a need that's being met, let's say my need for let's just use a real simple one. My need for food that tastes really good. I like food that tastes, let's say wine. I love good wine. I love a good glass of wine. So when I have a nice glass of wine, my need for a nice glass of wine is met. I'm happy. If I'm at a restaurant and I order a glass of wine and it comes and it's terrible, I'm not too happy. I don't really want to drink it. I don't really want to participate in that wine. So I struggle through it. But when the wine's a nice, fine glass of wine, I enjoy every second of it. Just like conversations. When we're in conversations and those conversations are going in the direction that we want and the others want, then we enjoy those conversations. We stay longer in those conversations. Think about that as if you're in sales. If you're in a conversation with somebody and that conversation is going in the direction you want it to go, are you more likely to stay in that conversation? Is the prospect, is the buyer, is the other person more likely to stay in that conversation? Yeah, because you're moving in the same direction. But when you're in a conflict conversation, when you're experiencing conflict, do you want to stay in that conversation? No, you don't. Nobody does. So if we're going to accomplish anything, if we're going to live the lives that we want to live, wouldn't it make sense that we learn how to deal with conflict? We learn how to take the negative part of conflict and turn it into something positive. We learn how to lean into conflict, learn how to take conflict and say, you know what? Bring it on. Bring it on. Not like, bring it on like you're a jerk or bring it on an asshole or something like that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying bring it on like because I can deal with this. I know that I can deal with this. I know I have the capacities to deal with conflict. In a Men's Breakthrough Challenge, that's what we do. We deal with conflict in a way that's never been dealt with it. We do something that's completely different than other people do. And we deal with it powerfully, and we learn to lean into conflict. We learn to take conflict and relate to conflict as an opportunity, not an obstacle. An obstacle is something, no, we take those obstacles and we look at them as opportunities. We don't run from conflict. We lean into conflict. That makes us powerful. That makes us strong. That makes us better to adapt to other things. So when we go home and our children say something to us, our wives say something to us, our partners say a husband, and our husband say, I'm a man, I got a husband, right? He says something to me. I'm not going to be as sensitive to that. Why? Because I've built myself as a stronger person that I can lean into the quote unquote attacks. And I find that most people don't really attack. They're just trying to sort something out for themselves. And they need a place to sort them out. Like I said, at the very beginning, we have challenges and we have struggles and we need a place to sort them out. Where do we sort out conflict in conversations? We need to sort them out in the conversations. The conversations that we're in is the place to sort out the conflict. But if we don't have the tools to sort that out, if we don't understand the components of conversation, the components of being a human being, the components of conflict, the components of resolution, the components of connection, how how being in a reptilian mode is going to send us in the direction we don't want to go into, and how being curious in a conversation will move us in the direction of flow. It'll move us in the direction of creativity, innovation, of breakthrough. If we understand that, then we then have a choice as men, and we can choose the direction of that conversation. That we actually give up. We give up. We give back. We disassociate with not being responsible, because responsibility then has so much more power in it. If I know I'm in a conversation, that conversation is not going in the direction I want it to go, well, I'm part of that conversation. How do I get that conversation to go in the direction I want to go? We say practice curiosity. Use curiosity in that conversation, because curiosity disengages that conversation just for a moment, so that the other person, because the other person can look and say, wow, this person's actually open to what I'm talking about. She's actually curious about what I'm saying. Man, this is a powerful ability to be able to do this. But we have to learn how to do this. And we have to learn how to deal with our feelings, because our feelings is exactly what is being indicated in what's going on here. It's the indicator. It's the internal indicator. It's the first and final indicator of what happens. Do I want to sign this agreement? I don't know. Let me look how I feel. And even if you look at all the details, you can read every little thing. You're reading it to see how you feel about it. So to avoid feelings doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? When feelings is the only indicator that you use. So when you say, I'm stepping away from feelings because I don't like the way it feels, no, you're actually stepping into feelings. You're stepping into the feeling that you like the way it feels. But what you're doing is you're avoiding the opportunity. You're avoiding the opportunity. So you're missing out on the opportunity simply because you're not willing to experience that feeling. I know that's why I got divorced, because I was not willing. I did not have the emotional intelligence to deal with what I needed to deal with in the conversations I was having. When I separated, when I started to go through my divorce, when I did that, I started to learn. I wanted to understand what got me into this situation. And as I started to study, this is when I wrote the book. I started to learn stuff about my relationship. I started to learn stuff about myself. And I saw that everything that happens in my personal relationships is exactly what happens in my business relationship. It's exactly the same thing. Why? Because human beings, we operate a particular way. When people say, well, you know what? It's only business, it's not personal. No, it's always personal. It's always personal. When you look at those numbers, on a piece of paper, you need feelings. You need your personal self to indicate, do you accept those or not? That's how it works. So your ability to understand feelings language, to understand needs language, to understand observations, to understand all these different components is only going to give you power. So what I put together is a program called Men's Breakthrough Challenge. It's in San Diego. It's in a couple weeks. It's on January 8th. And I want to invite you to come and play. It's going to lots of amazing, powerful men are going to be there, but we're going to get together as men to support each other, to be able to create accountability, to be able to live inside a language, create a conversation that's at a higher level than most conversations happen out there, where most people let you off the hook. They let you off the hook for, if you don't keep your word, they'll let you off the hook. No. Our word is all we have. The level at which we have integrity in that word, and the way we learn how to give our word, and then build courage and build strength in our word so we can start giving our word bigger. This is what we're here for, man. This is why we're on the planet. This is why we're leaders. We're leaders to lead. We're leaders to make a difference. We're leaders are here to speak and do what they say, create an example so other people want to do the same thing. And there's a lot of other things that leaders are here for too. But in Men's Breakthrough Challenge, it's about understanding what you are about, yourself, not what I'm about, what you're about. And if you can tap into that, if you can tap into what your needs are, if you can tap into what your feelings are, and you learn what your observations, you learn how to tap into all that in real time, you're going to have some real power. some real power. You're going to be able to accomplish things in like for me, for instance, what used to take me 8 hours, I accomplished an hour and a half to 2 hours. Why? Because I know how to sort out my thoughts. I know how to separate how I feel from what I got to accomplish. It's kind of a stoic way of looking at life, but it also includes joy and love and all those great things that we want to experience in life. My life experience is amazing. Why? Because I understand what's going on and I understand how to focus that. If you have no philosophy of life, what's guiding you? What's guiding you if you have no philosophy? If you're not living from your own person, not my virtues, your philosophy. I'm not going to tell you my philosophy because you don't have to do my philosophy. That's what I mean. You have your philosophy. You live through your philosophy, but have you figured out what your philosophy is? And is that yours or is that something somebody gave to you? Are you living from what you want in your life, your dreams, your passions? Are you being that greatest version of yourself, or are you simply living somebody else's dream of you, what somebody else wanted you? Maybe what your wife said you should be, but it wasn't what you said you would be. And on the way, you lost yourself. Not because your wife wanted you to, lose yourself, but because you lost yourself. Why do we lose ourselves? Why is it that we lose ourselves? Because we lose track of what we're committed to. And our vision gets blurred, or our thoughts get blurred. So then we walk a path that we're not even interested in walking. And we find ourselves in a place that we don't want to be. It doesn't have to be that way. But we need a place to sort it out. We need a place to sort out our thoughts. We need a construct, a structure to sort our thoughts out, a way to sort our thoughts out that works each and every time. Men's Breakthrough Challenge is that structure. It's that structure of how we think, all of us, not just men, but women, how we think, how that gets us what we want, and how we can use that thing, how we can shift it just a little bit, how we can tweak this thinking that we have that we're already doing, but we're not calibrating it the way that it serves us 100%. And it's always growing. It's always improving, that we learn to calibrate it so that we're dialed in, we're on point, and we're getting what we want. Men's Breakthrough is about that. It's about you. It's about you. It's not about me. It's about you. I'm here. I'm going to spend my life, the rest of my life, whether it's one day or it's, 50, 60, 70 more years, to spend the rest of my life committed to men being great, committed to you being great, committed to your husbands being great. Why? Because that's what we're here for. That's why you got married. You got married to that man because you saw him being great. And maybe he's bumped into a couple walls and he doesn't feel good about himself right now about 2 or 3 things. But it's there in him. Or you're the man and you know that it's in you. But something's happened and oh man, that's what happened to me. Oh my God, I don't know what happened. But somehow I lost track of myself. I lost sight of what I really wanted and I gave up on myself. I don't give up on myself, and I'm not going to give up on you. And what would it be like if you were surrounded by men that held you to account, that did not let you give up on yourself, that were there for you always? Not like just for the food, you know what I mean? I'm going to share with you a story real quick, and then I'm going to sum it up. I'm going to close it up. I've been talking to men for quite some time and coaching men, and I asked them, these men that have gone through, divorces and stuff. And of all the men that I've interviewed, and I've interviewed hundreds of men, if not thousands of men. And I asked them, I said, hey, when you went through your divorce, you remember all those people that were at your wedding that were there? And, they said something like, will you stand for this man? And, sickness and health and all that. Those are people that said that, hey, I'm here for you and I'm here for your wife. Did they call you when you went through, when you were going through your divorce, when you were going through your struggles, or did they just agree with you? You see, the men that were the men that are part of the Men's Breakthrough Challenge are the men that aren't interested in agreeing with you. We're not interested in agreeing with you. We're interested in holding you to your word And maybe you don't know what your word is. Maybe you don't know what you're committed to in this moment, but it's in there. And if we can tap into that, maybe you'll remember. You'll remember, not me, you'll remember. And you'll get reconnected to that. And then you'll be inspired by who you want to be for yourself and your family. And then if you can learn how to deal with conflict when something comes at you and not take it so personal and then lash back at the person, but then understand that that wife of yours, that husband of yours is trying to communicate something, and you now know the language of communication. You can say, wow, I can see that you're frustrated. I can see that you're angry. Here's the feelings list, right? I can see that you're hurt. I can see that you're discouraged, that you're sad, that you're uncomfortable, uneasy, that you're puzzled, hesitant, baffled, whatever that is. If you can have empathy for that, then what you're doing is you're connecting with the feelings of another human being versus telling that person that they shouldn't feel that way, telling them, giving them an alternative. How about connecting with those feelings? What if you can do that with your husband or your wife? Then what if you can do that with your children? And then what if you can do that with your clients? That when your clients are giving you an objection, do you understand they're simply telling you what they need to get out of the way in order to get what you have? This is what's in the way. I'm going to tell you, I'm worried about this, or I don't like this, or no, because of this. It's not personal. Has nothing to do with you, has everything to do with them. But if what you do is you make it personal about yourself, you're going to kill the sale because your attention is no longer on your client. It's on you. In your marriage, men, your attention is on you, not on your wives, not on your husbands, not on your partners, not on your children. It's on you. And yes, I know your wife has all the attention on herself. I understand that. I'm not saying that they have to have your attention. They don't have to have their attention on you. You get to be the person. You get to be the hero. You get to be the strong person. You get to be the rock. You get to be the leader and set an example and teach a new way of communicating that works, that is powerful. And you teach that in your family. You teach that in your marriage. You teach that in your neighborhood. You teach that in your organizations. You teach that in your company. And you use that practice in sales to skyrocket your sales. And then your clients. Look, I can tell you right now, I've got messages from clients right now. I just got one earlier. I'll tell you right now. I appreciate you. I love you, bro. That's from a client. That's from a client that had a question for me. I appreciate you. I love you. Why? Because I connect with my clients. This is what it is to connect, to be curious, to live the curiosity theory. That's what it is. So men, I have a link below. Listen, the course is only $97 right now. It's going to go up to $1,000 by the end of the year. And in a couple months, it's going to go up to $497. Okay. So it's going to go up. Right now it's $97. It's in San Diego. It's about 6 hours. It's from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock. That's the course. And then there's ongoing training if you want to do that. But the course is whole and complete. It'll shift your life. It'll change the way you operate with yourself. It'll change the way you operate with others. And it'll change the way you look at the world for the better. You'll be able to look through your own perspective in a way that you never did. You'll be able to own your own perspective. So come play with us, Men's Breakthrough Challenge. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for listening to my poem or my morning journal that I did this morning. And if you're a man and you're looking for someone to coach, if you're looking for someone that's powerful that can support you in having an amazing life, give me a call. I'd love to talk to you about coaching. Have an awesome holiday, Christmas.